Hi, my name is Saharsh Batsy.
Oh, I'm Jessica Wang.
My name is Abhinav Bamradapati.
My name is Apurva Jain.
I'm Brian Tang.
My name is Anisha Bhattacharya, and this is our teacher, Mr. Brodman.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for your work. This is Unit 1, and we'll be addressing Question 1 this morning, and I'll read all of Unit 1 and all of Question 1. So Unit 1, what are the philosophical and historical foundations of the American political system? Question 1, why did the founders prefer a republican form of government to a democracy? Does such sentiment exist today? Explain your response. What evidence, if any, is there that suggests that the United States has evolved from being a republic to being a democratic republic? What civic dispositions among the people are required for the healthy functioning of a democratic republic? Should government encourage civic dispositions that promote a healthy, functioning democratic republic? If not, why not? If so, how? Timer? You may begin.
The founders preferred a republican government because they were fearful of a demagogue, tyranny of the majority, the failure of past democracies, and were wary of the limited education of the people and their potential to make poor decisions. Prior democracies had not been successful, and James Madison noted they were incompatible with personal security or the rights of property, and have been as short in their lives as they have been as violent in their deaths.
Acknowledging the limited education of the polity, the framers understood the possibility of the people making bad decisions. Alexander Hamilton feared direct involvement of those with an insufficient stock of reason and knowledge to guide them in political matters.
While there is still support for a republic, the embrace of democracy has expanded since the framing. This is attributed to expanded education, a broader polity, an enhanced capacity to participate, and the general belief that republics and democracies are synonymous. The growth of an educated electorate through mandatory education addresses one of the framers' fears. Our ability to participate has expanded through easier registration, early voting, and technological advances like phones and social media, which allow for more direct involvement. However, we have not completely embraced democracy. Our government employs representatives at all levels, from national legislators to state governors and town councils. While 30 states mandate that electoral college representatives adhere to the popular vote, 22 provide no penalty. Besides initiatives, there have been no major movements towards direct democracy, and participation by the polity has decreased. Locally, in our own school board election, less than 10% of eligible voters tend to participate.
Evidence of America's evolution to a democratic republic includes an expanded polity, increased voter accessibility, frequent elections, greater support for democratic ideals, increased protection of participatory rights, primaries, voting for judges, and recall. A broader polity allows more people to participate directly in government. Voting rights have expanded to include all races, women, and 18 to 20-year-olds, enabling greater participation. Increased protection of voting rights, including the 24th Amendment ban on poll taxes and cases like Baker v. Carr's embrace of the one man, one vote concept, enhanced democracy within our republic. Furthermore, initiatives and referendums allow voters to directly partake in the legislative system, bypassing state legislature according to the choices of the people, as seen in California's limitation on affirmative action and Colorado's legalization of marijuana.
Civic dispositions required for the healthy functioning of a democratic republic include participation, an educated populace, popular sovereignty, rule of law, limited government, rights protection, compromise, tolerance, a balance of the common good and individual rights, and civic virtue. Participation is essential to our government, as it ensures that the polity's interests will be properly reflected and helps achieve popular sovereignty. Civic virtue is crucial, accepting that one must subsume some personal interests for the greater good. Professor David Ricci notes that working to achieve a common good by upholding American political ideals binds our society together.
The government must encourage civic dispositions since these concepts are not inherent. John Locke believed that man is good but self-interested, indicating that these behaviors should be encouraged. This can be achieved by civic education, different media outlets promoting these dispositions, recognition of those who epitomize these behaviors, and increasing access to political involvement. Civic education should continue past high school, with media advocating the importance of participation and being educated about current issues. Finally, government must continue to ensure people have the means to participate, whether by informing their representatives of their views or through voting.
Thanks so much. So as you imagine, my colleagues and I will have some follow-up questions, and I'll begin. John Adams, who drafted the 1780 Massachusetts Constitution, was a staunch proponent of bicameral legislature to check democratic impulses of popular government. Why does the Senate matter so much in Republican government?
Well, I think that a Senate is extremely important, especially in a system we have today, because we can see that the House, while it is more representative of the people and as a larger body, oftentimes there are concerns that the House could be easily swayed by strong speakers or potentially influenced representatives. So we need the Senate in order to cool the passions of the House.
And in Federalist 58, James Madison expressed his concerns about having a large number of people that participate in the House of Representatives. He stated that in numerous assemblies, passion never fails to wrest the capacity for individuals to participate. And for this belief, we need to have the Senate, which only has 2 members per state, which allows to cool the passions of the House and ensure that the House isn't swayed by a particularly well-spoken person.
And even we see with the longer term limits given to senators, with 6 years compared to that of 2 years for members of the House, by having a longer term limit, members of the Senate don't have to worry as much about garnering support for re-election or worrying as much about public opinion regarding their decisions. By giving them a longer term period, we're giving these senators the capacity and trusting their judgment, so they have the capacity to make decisions based on their own judgment and their own beliefs and expertise more often than those in the House.
If you could use the term republic or democracy to describe the United States, which term would you use and why would you use it?
I personally would use the term republic to describe our governmental system. This is because we have a largely representative form of government. So we see even from the local level to the national level, we have the constituents or the polity voting for representatives to express their opinions in government and to actuate policy based on their opinions. So I wouldn't say that we necessarily have a direct democracy, because it is not the people who are making the final decisions in government, rather it is our representatives.
In Federalist Paper 10, Madison acknowledged that in order to end the tyranny of the majority and stop mob rule, we need to develop the American constitutional system not as a direct democracy, but instead as a representative republic, where the views of the public are mediated through a chosen body of citizens whose views may best discern the interest of their polity.
Personally, I would choose to describe America as a democracy, because personally, I think a republic is a form of democracy. So America being a democracy would encompass this, because republics are based off of having the people vote for representatives, but the people are still participating in government, and a democracy reflects this ideal as well. And especially in America, where the polity is so large, I feel like a democracy better explains how our government works to sort of base itself on popular sovereignty.
And do you see the electorate as participatory?
Well, I think as of late, if we look at the 2018 midterms elections, we actually were starting to reach record high levels of participation, even though that the midterms traditionally aren't elections that the American people view as important as presidential elections, which generate the most buzz. I do think that as time goes on and the polity becomes more educated, we are becoming more participatory, as we can see with increased importance in civic education, and especially citizens expressing their concerns through various means, whether it be social media or actually participating in rallies and events.
While I agree that we're moving towards a more participatory path, I don't think that we're at any level where we can truly say that the electorate is participatory, because only 26% of Americans can name the 3 branches of government, meaning 74% of Americans don't even know the government and its structure very well. Just showing that to get involved in government, people need to understand the government and understand the functions of it to actually be a better citizen and participate in a more effective manner that helps improve society as a whole.
You're anticipating where I wanted to go with my question. I think implicit in your responses was that part of the justification for moving toward a more democratic republic was the increased education of the polity. But I wonder, so in 2019, the average American watched like 6.5 hours of television a day or something, and however many millions of people saw like clearly fake news on social media during the campaign in 2016. So how does that play into our understanding of how much power we want to give to the people, if at all?
Alright, so this can be related back to what Plato actually talked about, how he said democracy can be highly corruptible, as the people can be swayed easily, and this is shown by this example perfectly, because essentially the media's swaying the people one way, and it's hard to actually sway them towards a medium where they actually read more than one news source and understand what's actually going on, and to actually make their own informed decisions rather than just hearing one media outlet and sticking to that view.
And often in our media, we often see that the most polarized or the most extreme aspects of both parties are the ones that have the loudest voice, which can lead to people believing that these parties stand for things that they really don't. It kind of diminishes the moderate voice and the voice of compromise. So for this reason, we need to instill. Can I finish my sentence?
Yeah.
We need to help people understand that they must check their sources, and when something sounds like it's too good, they need to make sure and corroborate that they have the right source.
Thank you.
So, as I said, Alders, first of all, I want to thank you and your teacher and your parents for all your hard work. This is difficult material. I think you'll probably realize it's material that a lot of times your other classmates or others might not get until you're in college, and I think you handled it well. There was a couple things that I wanted in your introductory remarks. I think your use of quotes from Hamilton and Madison were terrific. I thought you did a very good job of upfront sort of defining direct democracy in your introductory remarks, which you carried over into your other remarks. That sort of philosophical distinction and defining upfront, I think, was very effective. We had a very good discussion in both areas about education and participation. I thought that was great. And I thought that there were two final things. So I liked the way you used the James Madison quote about passion and then made some comment on it. The founders did not, unlike the